¡Viva Ucrania! ¡Viva! ¡Viva Colombia! ¡Viva!
Yeah, Colombians are fighting for Ukraine. It is kind of interesting. I knew about this Colombian, I would say, battalion. They're mainly the smaller group of the 47th Brigade, Margura Brigade. Plus, they participate in the Foreign Legion. So, I was wondering about those guys. What drives them to go to Ukraine thousands kilometers away from Colombia and fight mostly on Ukrainian side? There are some of the Colombians who fight for Russia as well, by the way. So here we have a fantastic report from TS and Tishan. Unfortunately, it's in Ukrainian and I don't have the English subtitles, but I might tell you what this info is about. They took the interview with Colombians. They disclosed some of the information about hiring of the military personnel from Colombia and other countries. So of course the main factor for those guys is said openly in this video. Money. Yeah, this factor is huge. They took the interview with the guys, and they say definitely they need to feed their families. That's why they're here to earn money. But not only because actually Russia pays more. They do not disclose their salaries in Ukrainian army, but they may survive in Ukrainian army. For example, this guy, he told that he's in service already for 8 long months. Just imagine 8 months service in the Russian army. It sounds close to impossible. They also have better training and better equipment. For example, you may see a Bradley infantry fighting vehicle. And this is the driver. He's not from Colombia himself, but he's from Zimbabwe, a country which is openly supports Russia. But instead this guy came to Ukraine to fight against Russian forces. Well, at first he said that there was the lack of trust towards him. But after one battle, everything changed and he is now the driver of Bradley. And this guy is doing hiring. He's ethnical Armenian and he serves in the 47th Brigade. And he disclosed the numbers in this interview. He said that they already hired 2,000 of Colombians only. So if we take all of the foreigners, the number is greater because there were the guys from Peru as well. He also mentioned that potentially Ukraine may hire 1,000 soldiers from Colombia and other countries per month. Just need to pay them salary and tickets to go to Ukraine. They're coming to Ukraine. The money, yeah, it's the main factor. But also many of the Colombians, they don't like Russia because Russia supports some of the terror forces in Colombia. And here again, you see the guy from Zimbabwe. He is operating a very sophisticated vehicle. Just imagine this picture in the Russian army. It's absolutely not possible. The foreigners who fight for Russia, like for example Huffman from Texas, they do not operate American-made vehicles, or any sort of the other sophisticated equipment because first of all, Russia doesn't have that sophisticated equipment as Bradley and they will not let foreigners to drive their tanks or other stuff. No, usually guys like Derek will go on their own feet to Ukrainian positions, and kaput themselves in attempt to get more ground for Russia. In the best case, maybe motorcycle, something like that. But in Ukraine, it's totally different picture. Those guys, they do have the best gear, and I think that the salary for them is also okay. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming to Ukraine so massively, especially recently. It seems like Ukraine invested a lot to hire foreigners for Ukrainian army. And it's a good thing because Russia also does the same. Yeah, they have highs. They have everything. And here they land from the Bradley infantry fighting vehicle. Is the training mission here filmed on camera? You know many of the Colombians. How it's better to say, I mean properly. Colombia or Colombia? Colombia. 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 Okay. So many of the Colombians they know how to deal with the rifles because they had that civil war. So Kalashnikov's M-type rifles it's pretty much understandable for those guys. So there are some of the interviews for example in Butis Plus channel. I wouldn't say it's like a trend, but more and more soldiers are coming to Ukraine from the Spanish-speaking regions, and it's upskilling pretty much fast. About their contract details I wish I knew. For me it is also interesting like of the market for those private armies let's say or mercenaries right, but I think they obtain more compared to Ukrainian soldiers, because Ukrainians are mainly mobilized they have pretty much standard salary, as for Ukraine but to make the job offer for some of the expert coming to Ukraine thousands kilometers away this offer should be good it's, like then I was a pilot I used to fly for Garuda Indonesia, and my salary was I think bigger than for the local captain, because they needed pilots by the time. And they went on the market trying to get pilots for them and I was one of the pilots of flying for Garuda Indonesia. So the logic is pretty much similar. So the higher Ukrainian army will pay for those soldiers, and the better conditions are in Ukrainian army, the more people they might potentially attract because there is the market for those people, and some of them I'm just saying, might try to go to the Russian army. But yeah the conditions in the Russian army as you know it's one-way ticket usually so yeah for them Ukrainian army is way better as for their structure in 47th Brigade. They have like separate commanders so their commandant he goes with a briefing for them before each operation and the commander coordinates his efforts with Ukrainian army command of particular brigade. He knows Spanish and probably he was the commander in Colombian army, Before I'm not sure, but they work like that. As for the Colombian government, they don't have this ban for their people to join Ukrainian army or something, but sometimes they try to put some sort of the barricades, or interfere with those people who like to go to Ukraine. But the official law, which prohibits the service in the army of the other state, is absent. Like for example, in Switzerland, there is such a law and you may get even imprisoned, like it happened I think already with one of the volunteers from Switzerland. He returned back and he was arrested. Also, I know that Uzbekistan arrested some of its citizens, who fought for Russia before. So, it's the usual thing, but for Colombia, it's more or less fine as I understood. And what we have here, that Ukraine is launching the Spanish-speaking channel, so recruiting center. They launched it in Spanish language to attract probably more volunteers to join Ukrainian army recruit. Yeah, recruitment. It means recruiting, I think. But it's a good step for Ukrainian thing. If those guys are willing to come to Ukraine, and as commander said, thousands of people per month are willing to come. Just pay for the tickets, pay the salary, and they'll fight for you. It's a good way out for Ukraine in general, especially than those guys. They know that Ukraine treats them very well, especially compared to the Russian army. And Ukraine is not using the mid-wave tactics compared to what Russia doing. It's absolutely crazy. I wonder how foreigners are coming to the Russian army. It's craziness for me. But in Ukraine, they are more or less safe, equipped, and fit. Normally Ukrainian command, especially the 47th Brigade, they take care about the guys because they understand if they throw them one-way ticket, no one would come later to fight. It's kind of logical. So yeah, they have the special attitude even towards those soldiers. And guys, this video is not some sort of the advertisement to join Ukrainian army. No, no, nay. This conflict is very big, so the chances to lose the life are also very big. So those guys are risking a lot. From my side, I do not call you to help and join. It's up to every personal person, especially know I'm Ukrainian. I left my country and I cannot call anyone to join Ukrainian army. I'm not in this position. I'm not even calling myself a Ukrainian patriot because I left Ukraine. But I do hear what I can to support Ukraine with your great help, my friends. And by the way, we have some awesome news. I already shared those photos on my Telegram channel. So, our truck, which we bought all together, has arrived to Ukraine. I call this truck Optimus Prime. Here's one more photo of our Optimus Prime, which was delivered to Zaporizhia. And we have even this reward from the commander of the 31st Brigade to Denis Davidov. But it's not for me. It's for every one of us who participated purchasing that fantastic Optimus Prime truck. I think it looks great, and will help Ukrainian soldiers to eliminate fire because Ukrainian military bases are also under attack. Not just civilian infrastructure, and for civilian infrastructure, usually Ukraine has fire trucks, but for military, but with your help fire truck was delivered. And by the way, we also had enough money for maintenance of the track. Absolutely great. Thank you guys for your kind support. You are awesome. And if we speak about the nations and everything, I want to shout out again to Tim Shame, of the guy I mentioned in one of my recent videos. He's a German who is fighting for Ukraine and who helps Ukraine a lot. So here he recorded video 7 days ago of how he purchased this transporter track, and some of the batteries for our guys on the front lines. For this, he used his own salary, which he received from Ukraine, to purchase this vehicle. I think it was for sale in some of the school. This van just arrived, and will be repainted in green color obviously. So team is doing absolutely great job, especially being member of IV Party of Germany. Some people write that they don't like the guy because he's far right or something. I don't honestly care if he's far left or far right. He's doing everything to help Ukraine, so it's the main thing. It makes him normal human being. Okay, so he's a nice guy in this war. He understands that Russia is bad, Ukraine is good, and hopefully somehow he might convince some of his party members with the same stuff. Thank you team, you're doing great. Oh, yesterday, there was the day of the Russian Navy, and just look at the celebration which was taking place in 2020 in St. Petersburg. Usually Russia celebrates over there, in 2025. So look at the difference. You know why it happened? Because Russia canceled the military parade on the water in St. Petersburg, and Putin just attended some of the military college in St. Petersburg as well, Navy College. So actually you see the results of the special military operation. Russia cannot even put their military ships in St. Petersburg because it's damn dangerous. And also it's dangerous for Putin. We know that yesterday there were some of the strikes in St. Petersburg area. Ukraine hit some of the facilities with looted drones, so Ukraine may reach this stuff. That's why Putin decided to let the ships be somewhere else. It's an old photo, but actually the joke is funny. Putin goes underwater to greet sailors from the Moscow ship. Here we have emergency toilet paper roll just in case. Guys, if you can, if you want, you may support me on Patreon. The link for my Patreon page is in the video description right below. You are maintaining my motivation by the time YouTube has some of the problems with monetization. Oh boy. Russians push the horses to fight on the front line. This is crazy. This horse, there was the picture of this one before. So, Russia is using it for supplies, especially this one, and they wrote I monitored their channels. They mentioned that because of this Ukrainian drone strike they lost the horse, and 3 of the soldiers totally caught. One was delivered to local hospital with wounds, but Ukraine has no other choice. If there is the horse donkey the Russian soldier, it has been used for supplies. So yeah, unfortunately this is the war, and Russians wrote, oh, Ukrainians have no soul. They kill our horse. But who put this horse, who pushed this horse to the front lines first of all? So Russians themselves are guilty for this loss. They're like 2-year-old babies. Russians have the cognitive dissonance. What is coming first? What is coming next? What causes something? And actually, it's about the bigger picture, about this war in general. So Russians mainly, they blame Ukraine for Putin, who started this full-scale war against Ukraine. There is no brain. Now there is the huge crisis in water in occupied Donetsk. Russia is unable to provide normal water supplies to locals, and it is a high-populated city. If we speak about occupied territories, yeah, many people left Donetsk, but still there are thousands of people living there. This is Donetsk in 2014. Ariana concert. Locals are cheerful and happy to come to this concert. Awesome. And this is the modern-day occupation. Donetsk. No lights. Nothing. People gathered for water because water is coming. So happy. They call water, and that's what the Russian peace or Russian world means. It is terrible. Guys, just be grateful for what Putin gives you. If it is water, it is the saint water. Probably it's the biggest lesson for those guys who still support Russia. In most of the cases, the water is fine, but sometimes it is not. Not just Russian soldiers are suffering with lack of water on the front lines, but also people on occupied territories by Russia. And breaking news appeared just right now. A drone from Belarus entered Lithuanian airspace and was spotted by Vilnius residents early morning. Vilnius residents reported a drone likely from Belarus flying about 200 meters. Police sent a cell phone alert. Oh, there was the alert. Residents not to approach it. How can you possibly approach the flying vehicle without the airplane? It's already the second drone incursion in a month, but NATO is sleeping. You know, Lithuanians film this stuff, and but all of those bureaucrats of NATO blogged their oh something happened for freaking sake. NATO looks so miserable, especially right now. Then the reaction is absolutely needed. What is that? No air defense to intercept the drone, like launch everything. Come on. There's the countries which guarantee the clear skies over Lithuania for sure. Yeah, Lithuanians just received this alert. Nothing more. Nothing less. Yeah. Alert. There are some Russian drone flying over Vilnius. Okay. I actually wonder if there was some sort of the attempt to shut it down. No one writes about anything. Poland wrote that they lifted up their fighter jets to patrol the sky because Russia attacked Ukraine, but Lithuania is not far away. Maybe they should came out with some of the agreement to protect Lithuania too. You know, from Shahets. We're not even talking about protecting Ukrainian sky. Maybe over Western territories. They cannot shut down Shahets over their own territories, and it's just a single Shahed that was flying there. Imagine how many Shahets Russia is launching on Ukraine. Could be definitely a problem for NATO countries if Russia starts some sort of the big military provocation against Baltic countries, with multiple of the drones flying at the same time. Yeah, it could be very devastated. Here's the map of the Russian strikes. Mostly Russia was using drones, but also there were some cruise missiles. They also launched Kinjal hypersonic missiles. Here you can see this trajectory. Yeah, the drone made the spiral and went to Belarus, probably next to Lithuania, which means that Russia just can't control its drones. They fly elsewhere to other countries. It's normal thing for them. Wow. It's going to be a huge purchase for Ukraine. So Warren Company, which is making some sort of the very sophisticated electronic components, agreed with the United States for the contract of a 33,000 drone strike kits, which will be delivered to Ukraine. So the drones which are equipped with machine vision, it's the new step in the drone development technology. So drones themselves, they do not require the constant signal. Basically you fly the drone upstairs somewhere. The drone operator sees the target and commands the drone to fly to the target, and drone flies there in any case, even in the signal, even if the signal is lost, because drone sees the target with its own camera, and it doesn't require the connection with the drone operator any longer. The next development is for the drone to fly fully autonomously. So you press the button, drone flies, and drone chooses what target is best, how to approach the target, and in combination with other drones, it's going to be like a swarm of drones flying to hit specific target, or multiple of the targets. It's a game maker for the future, but now it's like that machine vision. The first steps are out there and Ukraine will use it for Ukraine. This perspective is wider. Ukraine will introduce those systems for sure. For Russia, I don't know, because Russia doesn't have the access to those kind of the companies to receive air technologies. However, Russia at the same time works with China. So, we'll see who progresses the first introducing new technologies, new drone fighting technologies. Politica says that United States may reduce the number of their troops deployed in Germany and in Europe in general by 1/3. Okay. Again, it means that Europe should count on itself. That's the only way out to some of the political news. United States and Europe agreed on some sort of the deal, big deal between the countries. So Don will not implement huge tariffs on Europe. I think there will be much tariffs of 15%. That's it. What is interesting that a day before Doni said that negotiation with Europe is almost not possible, but finally they reached the agreement, and oh my god, what the hell is this? Like the guy in the running shoes, like what? In a suit, and it's the first time I see this one. That's hilarious. Running shoes in a suit in this sort of the meeting at this level. Okay, maybe I don't know something. It's a modern day trend. According to I guess Financial Times. Yeah, probably Financial Times. Trump was willing to give Putin Crimea, and all of the oblasts which Putin wanted to obtain officially. Like Donnie had the plan to recognize those territories as the Russian ones. And that is how he thought Putin might stop. Yeah. He forgot to ask Ukraine about it, because United States may recognize whatever it wants. After all, it's their right to recognize whatever they want, but it would not cause Ukraine to surrender its territories. And that is what Doni doesn't understand, that he cannot influence Ukraine like that to push for basically capitalization. It doesn't work like this any longer. Maybe it worked before, but not today. No. Plus, Putin also said to Trump, no, I will fight. So, I don't need those obsess. I need more. So, yeah. The war will continue for many years, guys. Alright. What we have here is the first commercial flight from Russia to Penang, North Korea. Many of the Russian people will be delivered for the local resorts. Well, usually this airport is empty without any sort of the flights, and actually there are some of the people who got paid for sitting in the terminal building to show to those few foreign tourists that it is functional. But actually it's not. Well, Russia decided to change it, and here is the first delegation coming. So before all of the tourists were delivered by train, and now there will be flights, Russian flight attendants, and probably North Korean flight attendants. Happy, I guess maybe that's the new world. Russia unites with North Korea. Who would have thought about it long time ago, like few years ago. Damn, I wish I will have the best video quality for this one. Yeah, here we have the better picture. What aircraft did fly their Boeing 777? I see. So here we have one more. Indeed, this is 777. They do not show particular airline. Maybe it should go under sanctions. But it's not the air. It doesn't look like the Airflot. Maybe some Nord or they have those daughter airlines of Flot. It's not safe to fly those. Russia is in like of the spare parts. They also have no navigation data updates. Yeah, it's crazy how they fly. Guys, if you want to know what is happening on the front lines, and actually we have fantastic news. There was the biggest Russian attack this month, which basically was repelled by Ukraine. I told about it with more details and videos in my last video, so just click on it. Watch this one video. Yeah, already watched it almost. And click this one. It is really awesome. So I divide videos on my channel. Frontline updates, the usual news updates like this one. And if we have some sort of the hot topic, I'll come out with 3rd video per day. We'll do it like that. And it is only possible because of your support on Patreon and on membership of this channel. Thank you guys for maintaining my motivation. And I want to film more interesting news for you. For now, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And I wish you all a peaceful sky, wherever you are, and have a great